Gregson can expect... Ja, Mann, ey, was ist los? PC, ist okay. Inspector Gregson can expect repercussions. Like me sipping all these fish and chips, eh? Man, soul pleasure. None of this matters. That scrap of balloon envelope means nothing, niente. Okay. This stupido... Hold it! You mean the color is wrong? Si, senor. I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse. And yet a piece of green cloth was found at the scene and is unmistakably from a balloon. Well, I do not know what that can be. For the sake of argument, let's say that a green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question. Oh, why not? There have been recreational balloon flights over Hyde Park operating from before the Grand Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree. You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition? Ja, aber dann wäre doch die Stage gar nicht da gestanden. Si, exactamente. As the signore says, it is not from one of my balloons. Clearly, this little ragazzo from Bohemia is mistaken about what he saw.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Master Gotts? It's Master Wilhelm Gottsreich Sigmund Ormstein. Yeah. It was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear it. I swear all over Bohemia. You can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. Balloon, please. If you do not have evidence, ragazzo, then I must tell your parents to punish you, eh? Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishments. Evidence? What is this evidence? To give a simple example, young man. A photograph, for instance, some tangible proof of what you claim. Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here. Oh. Good gracious. What? I had not been up in a balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. I took lots and lots of photographs. Of the Crystal Tower, of the Bohemian exhibit, of the streets of London, of the hot eel cellar, the balloon. And the instantaneous kinesis experiment. Did you take a picture of that? Yeah! Fun picture. Really? You did take one? But all I wanted was a ride in a balloon. I was not interested in boring experiments. Never mind that. Can you show us the photograph? Of course. And then you will see. You will see that I am not lying. That I really did see the green balloon. Also es ist ein empty balloon, das ist korrekt. Ist nicht farbig, aber er ist empty. Well, I see you are all too shocked to speak. Yes, I think shocked is indeed a word, young man. Yeah, perhaps you cannot see that it was a green balloon from this photograph, but that is not my fault! It is the fault of the stupid person who made the camera! Toll, jetzt haben wir weines Kind, geil. That is one very bohemian sounding cry. It is. Wäh! It is. Hä? Kinder schreien überall gleich auf der Welt. Was? Wäh! Very well, the court would accept this photograph as evidence. Hey, ganz genau wie du. Ey! Hallo? Hey! Hallo? Hallo? Was? Taris, please. Hiya! Ich werde hier gemobbt, ja? Frechheit. Rude. It's not my fault. It's the fault of the person who made the camera. Okay, Kind. Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. Aber es ist halt ein empty balloon. Dann haben wir lustige Lichtreflection. Was ist das für eine Lichtreflection? Pfium! Hinten rennt ein Kind. Ha! Okay. In any case, when exactly did you take that photograph? Well, it was on the day of the big explosion. You don't say. When I pressed the button, the shuttle release, there was this very loud bang. And a hot wind rushed over my face. That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred. Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. It does. I could not give the flying fig. Lovely language you picked up. Okay, vielleicht kann ich das Photograph da sagen, von wegen, wo waren über Leute drin. Hat er, glaube ich, gesagt, ne? Keine Ahnung, ja. The young Bohemian boy claims to have seen another fourth balloon. This inconsistency must tell us something. Da. All three of my balloons were carrying passengers. But this one is empty. Also präsentieren wir hier das Bild von einem empty balloon. Empty! This beach empty! Yet! Ja. Nicht. Den Knopf. So. Unfortunately, the photograph master can't tell us the color of the balloon, but it can us something else. Something crucially important. What? It shows that the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers. Oh my goodness, you're right. But surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There would be no sense in it otherwise. See, they are for pleasure, for seeing the view. My balloons only fly with passengers. Which tells us that the picture balloon isn't one of them. So, when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. The mysterious green balloon. I know nothing, niente. I can only tell you one thing. If this balloon is not carrying passengers, then it was none of mine.
Objection!
There are illegal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly, one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition. Ja, aber da war ja niemand drin! And managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Loon's patch without him realizing. You see, the competition trying to steal my profits. I did not notice because of the experimento that went wrong on the stage. This fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Asman was beamed from the stage below. Right, so them scraps that fell to the ground after and left them scorch marks, they didn't come from the stage at all. It was the bits of the balloon raining down. But because no one was in it, it didn't get no attention. A mysterious fourth balloon carrying no passengers, silently floating over the experimentation stage.
Objection!
This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon carrying no one and operated by some rogue trader. Clearly, it has nothing to do with the case. Naja, es hat doch noch den Lichtreflex drin. Oh! War das vielleicht der Schuss? War das vielleicht ein Schuss auf den Balloon? Its relevance does elude me, I must say. The court has seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded. Also disinterested. Really? Have we really got to the truth yet? No, I can't let this opportunity slip away. The Euros' minds are made up and not in our favor. What else can this photograph tell us? Is there nothing more we can learn from it? Ja doch, da ist er nicht. Da, 100 Pro. Da fliegt irgendwas. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait. Please don't give your decisions yet. The photograph from Master Gods may well be hiding one more vital clue. What's that? A vital clue!
Objection!
We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definites now. So tell the court. What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove? Cause of explosion. We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion. Ja, that's right, ja. It was not my fault. Evidently. Because the birdcage from the kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon, being filled with flammable hydrogen, instantly and explosively ignited.
Objection!
Wrong! No, that's not what happened. What? It would appear that this photograph requires close examination. Counsel of the defense, you will highlight the location of this alleged clue in the photograph for the court. Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see, and what's shown is a link to another piece of evidence we have. The Schraubenzieher? In a way, that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. The clue that heavily suggests the real reason the balloon exploded is this.
Take that!
The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon. Most likely a ray of light caught incidentally on the film. I'm afraid I can't see nothing of the sorts. If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear that the nature of this bright line is what the nature of this bright line really is. Okay. Goodness, what is that? Under the eyes of flash of light, yes. Das ist ein komischer Flashlight. Oh golly. Do you think it might be lightning? But it couldn't have been a finer day. I believe we may be looking at fire. A bird of fire heading straight for the balloon. Like an arrow! Indeed, even to my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word, are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon?
Objection!
That's absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time. No flame could possibly have reached such a height.
Objection!
It can! Because you have a fucking crossbow. Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how that is exactly what did happen. What evidence? Also, ich hab's vielleicht geklaut. Oops. If such evidence exists, Counsel, then for goodness sake, present it, man. Which evidence explains this mysterious streak of flame that appears to be headed directly for the balloon? Bloop bloop.
Take that!
My crossbow! This was found hidden at the floor of a small ornamental tree near the scene. Good lord. Is this a crossbow? An arrow dipped in oil and set alight could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon. Are you suggesting the crossbow was used too deliberately? Blame me. You're right. That streak of lightning in the photo looks just like an arrow, doesn't it? Then, the explosion of the balloon, it was very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside it. Oh, why does he look so pretty when he does that? Like, oh, please. What the fuck? What the fuck, man sieht's? Like, I've been hit. Oh Mann, ey. Sehr gut, sehr gut. Order! Counsel. This is an extraordinary supposition. If the aim was to cause the balloon to explode, the shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question. The noise of the discharge. Of course. That's right. But using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently. Well, yeah. If someone had shot a gun off in the exhibition rounds, it would have caused a real panic. But with the big explosion, there was a very big panic anyway, you know? Ja, aber die war erst danach. I don't like this. I should be pleased to have found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nipponese friend? If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued... What? Wait a minute. What are you really saying, eh? I don't get it. Was the birdcage beamed up into the sky? Was the birdcage beamed up into the sky after all, or what? Where could this be? Now I understand. That's what that sinking feeling is about. I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along. What? Did you just hear that Did I just hear that correctly, Counsel? There's no going back now. The horse has bolted. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. On stage, an experiment was started. The birdcage in the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. I think you all agree it's entirely plausible. And what I've just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day. God grief!
Objection!
This is ludicrous. What we've described is no science experiment. It's child's play. A contemptible doch so. Contemptible display of stage magic. Both Mr. Sholmes and Iris said that the experiment was a scientific impossibility. In which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day. And in any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the crystal tower. If the instantaneous kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that? Ich meine, er wurde ja abgeschossen. Nicht? If I may put a word in, as a man of magic myself, such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception. Juror number 3. All that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Esmond, and having this other man appear on stage to front the show as a body double. Was? Wow! Yes, of course. So in fact, Mr. Asman must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start.
Objection!
Ja, aber dann wäre er schon... Aber dann wäre er auch suffocated. Er war er schon vorher tot? Ich meine, ich glaube nicht, dass es so geil ist, in Wasserstoff zu stehen. Wasserluftstoff. That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Ja, danke. Anything hidden inside it would have been scattered to the four winds when it exploded. No one would ever have embarked on such a risky venture. Not necessarily. The explosion force of the balloon gas would very much depend upon the mixture ratio. Juror number 4! Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Doch auch Helium drin. Helium is on its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the gas mixture ratio, the explosive force can be altered. The mixture ratio? Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered some burns. That would be unavoidable. But not to such an extent as to render this whole obscene charade impossible. So, everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception, to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred. Well, goodness me. And if we accept that this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Esmond, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. In short, he couldn't have been killed by the defendant who was on the stage in full view the entire time. Pretty. This will be very hard for the prosecution to counter. Not one Zeeks can't credibly maintain that Professor Hairbrain is the suspect now. Aber es kommt der... Ja? Natürlich. Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Professor? But you can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Sorry? What's all this about, Mr. Hairbrain? I, Albert Hairbrain, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. ODS when... Oh, yes, it was me, with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver. What? What are you doing? Ja, so. Das lieben wir, immer die Leute, die sich selber, als Opfer, plötzlich als Böller darstellen. So. Order, order, order! Defendant, explain this sudden confession.
Objection.
Professor Hairbrain, what are you talking about? It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypothesis and my precious machine. You stand there and claim it was all a trick, an elaborate prank, but where's your proof? No, you'd have to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it, but then it would all be over. My beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare. I mean, the indignation of it. Ja, aber... Junge. It's clear that you drew the plans for the experiment, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor, if you... Was hat er gesagt? If you'll just let me, I can prove... Baroque! Yes. I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say. I swear it. So please... Ensure the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act is adhered to and protect my creation. Hiya. Aha. Pray forgive the discourtesy of feeling my hello jealous at this critical juncture. There's the Maryland Nepalese friend. What? And his upcoming attempt to clarify the defense position in the light of the accused's confession. Huh? Do you intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will then demand a rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the truth. However, if you acknowledge that the machine is genuine and instrumental in the victim's murder, no, any chance of investigating will be crushed, and the confidentiality of the professor's hypothesis preserved. Well, counsel, what is the defense's official position on this matter? What Professor Hairbrain, my client, actually asked of me was to prove that the explosion on stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. But there's no way to do that without implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence? Or do I uphold my client's request but see him condemned? Either way, I can avoid betraying his trust. You've been silent long enough. Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? Schuldig! Nein! Hallo Panem. Schuldig im Sinne der Anklage. No! Or was all knowledge of English has all... Ja, mein Englisch ist wirklich gerade weggegangen. Or has all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nepalese mind? Ah, alles weg. Kommt jetzt Susato zurück? Wäre geil. Bitch! Nein! Mr. Naruhodo. There's no escape here. I have to make a choice. But it's impossible one. I have to give up on something. But what? The defense asserts the defendant's instantaneous kinesis machine was in fact... Also eigentlich bin ich sicher... Das ist gemein. Aber eigentlich es kann nicht sein. War ein Trick. Es muss ein Trick gewesen sein. Ah. Conjuring Trick. Ah. No, I can't say it. My client placed his faith in me. I can't just let him down. What must I give up on? It's not a question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect? Ja! Susato's zurück! Hello again, Mr. Naruhodo. It's been far too long. Susato-san? But I thought you were... Aya! Oh. Ah! My first Susato takedown in 6 months! Amazing. There'll be time to talk later, Mr. Naruhodo. For now, we must concentrate on the task at hand. Which is working out not what I have to give up on, but what I can protect. Professor Hairbrain. Yes? Yesterday you told me that science is the pursuit of truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too. Yes, of course. And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Asman. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? That your experiment and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what we must both pursue now. Nein, nicht Flasche! Oh. Tschüss, Flasche. So, you finally opened your eyes. What? And as for you, Albert, you can't ignore this any longer. He's just been playing games with us. No! Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say? Baroque? Lord Van Zieks. Gosh, I've never heard him speak that way before. In truth, there is one thing, something I've remembered that's of relevance. What? On the day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding their crossbow. I beg your pardon? Knight! Professor, did the man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like? Taller than me and thinner than me, with straight hair, straighter and whiter than mine. Let me see, one less lens than me too, a monocle, a rather stylish black monocle. But one thing in particular will help to positively identify the man. You see, I know him very well. After all, he's the engineer who built my invention. Good. What? He built a machine? So that's right. Mr. Asman introduced him to me a year ago. He's a man by the name of Enoch Trebor. Enoch Trebor. Okay. Enoch Trebor! I'm trying calculating. Does his name mean something? Members of the jury seem flustered. No name as any scientist wishes to hear. The man's an abomination. Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear either. Good. Who on earth is he? I'm afraid this isn't the first tale of this nature that I've heard in science circles in connection with my name. There's a talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but stage trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascal is after the government's research grant money. When magicians are in need of money, I have heard of them resorting to these underhand tactics. Some acquaintances of mine with experience of such things have mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before. A man's both an engineer and magician, yes. We're dealing with an unparalleled confidence trickster here. That's Enoch Drebber for you. Okay. Mit einem Monokel. Monocle Man! Okay. So it's true then. My invention, my great machine, it was just a grand illusion. Considering what we've just heard about Mr. Drebber's character, I'm sorry to say that sounds increasingly likely. Even though no one else believed it, I wanted to. I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted. Which is why you were so opposed to it being investigated, I presume. I knew that if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen, but at the same time, I knew that if it was found to be nothing more than a trick, then the work of deception, then everything I'd worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, my whole life would be over. I was terrified at the prospect. So, you really had no idea then, did you? About the true nature of the machine that was built, and the true nature of Mr. Drebber. I never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it. Ich glaube, es gibt sogar ein Wort dafür. Es gibt ein Wort dafür. Ich weiß gar nicht, wie es heißt, aber im Prinzip, dass, wenn sich ein Mensch auf eine Meinung festgelegt hat, ist es sehr schwierig, ihn davon wegzubringen. Also halt auf eben so eine These oder so, wenn er sowas aufgestellt hat, weil er halt mit allem, was er hat, immer das Gefühl hat, also unterstützt das alles und du kriegst dann diese Meinung fast nicht mehr weg. Deine Einstellung. Das ist mega schwierig. Ich weiß nicht mehr, wie das heißt. Keine Ahnung, aber es gibt so ein Basic, das ist so ein Problem, was es halt gibt. It's entirely possible that Mr. Esmond and Mr. Drebber were working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money. When I announced my invention to the crowds that day, it was the finest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Drebber had described. When the smoke suddenly started billowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. But I really don't know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything anymore. Doof. Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection afforded by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? Yes, please, go ahead. I'm very sorry. Damn. It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. Lord Van Zieks. My lord. The court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical. Yes, Mr. Drebber. Kind information about the man, if possible. I should like him served with a subpoena. Nein. Nein, das ist ganz ein anderes Wort, Bayern. With pleasure, my lord. Na, kannst du. Also intolerant ist was anderes. Das ist, wenn man laktoseintolerant ist. Wenn man etwas nicht akzeptieren kann. Das hat nichts damit zu tun, dass man Sachen, die eigentlich offensichtlich sind, die gegen die eigene Meinung, gegen die eigene Hypothese stößt, dass man die abwinkt, basically. Weißt du? Es hat nichts mit Intoleranz zu tun. Now, Council of the Defense. Yes, my lord. When we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence that the defendant is innocent of the crime of which he presently stands accused. Engstirnig? Nee, es gibt einen Begriff dafür. Ist aber ein englischer Begriff. Aber mir fällt er nicht ein. Ich weiß nicht, wie es heißt. Es ist ein... Es ist irgendeine Bias, aber ich weiß nicht, wie es heißt. Ist es ein Decision Bias? Nee. Warte. I don't know. Ich habe das irgendwo... Oh, habe ich das gehört? Ah, da. Also basically ist es nicht genau das, aber es ist eine Confirmation Bias basically, was jetzt Tablet hatte. The confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret, focus on and remember information in a way that confirms one's preconceptions. Eher sowas, aber ich weiß nicht mehr genau, das Wort hieß. Ich habe einen fixen Begriff, aber ich weiß nicht mehr, aber es ist basically das. Halt eben das... Scheißegal, was die Person sagt, du wirst es irgendwie falsch interpretieren oder halt einfach, du bist so auf deiner Meinung am Hocken, dass du halt alles sagst, ja, das unterstützt das. Weil du halt nur diesen Teil rauspickst, der das unterstützt und nicht alles andere siehst, was falsch dran ist. I understand. Gut. In that case, this court is adjourned until tomorrow morning. Das heißt, wir haben nochmal eine Investigation oder haben jetzt einfach keine Investigation? 23. Oktober. 1:36. Halb 2. 20 für 2. Der Bay Defenders End Chamber. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? I'm so sorry. I was wrong. You were right. I tricked you. You trusted me. I dragged you into my mess. Ja, aber Taris. Ich habe gesagt, Heiler finde ich langweilig in Normal Content und ich habe keinen harten Content mit Heiler gemacht. Also habe ich nicht die Ausrede, hey, ich bin ein guter Heiler oder so. Ich sage, ich finde Heiler langweilig auf normalem Content. Ich finde es... Dieser Scheiß dort und eine Angriffsspam ist langweilig. Im Grundsätzlichen, ja, aber ich meine... Weil jetzt kann man ja vielleicht dann drüber streiten, wenn ich jetzt härteren Konto spiele. Da greife ich greife mir noch viel an. Außer ich sehe, oh, mein Mana ist low. Okay, ich greife nicht mehr an. Ich stehe halt rum. Hallo, ich gucke zu. Ist voll interessant. Geil. Aber das ist halt so. Oh, how did I ever come to this? I'm so sorry. Okay. Did you really have no idea? Did you really have no idea, Professor? About what Mr. Drebber was really up to, I mean. About what he was really constructing. Naturally. The machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis. Of all my hopes and dreams. I had complete faith in it. Alright. In that case, I won't say anymore. Now, sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands. So now we must do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow. Okay, wir haben noch Investigation. Was haben wir jetzt? Wir haben jetzt circa 2 Stunden. Wir haben 4. Mal gucken, ob wir das noch durchbekommen, die. Ansonsten ein Teil davon. Well, thank you for doing so much for me. Ich würde bis maximal 6 machen. I'm sorry for arriving late this morning, Mr. Naruhodo. Arriving late? Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrive. Postcard? What postcard? I hid it from you, Runo, so it would be a surprise. Wow, thanks, Iris. Well, did it work? I was surprised, alright. Especially when she threw me to the ground. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that it sort of slipped out. Maybe we could stick to more traditional displays of emotion in the future. No! Susie's train was late into London Victoria this morning, you see. But we made the coachman really whip the horse's heart. No, the poor horse. So she didn't miss the whole trial. I was watching from the gallery for a while, but in the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself. Well, I'm glad you didn't. Oh? Having you at my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. So, I'm, delighted to see you back in London. Oh, you're so kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm delighted to be here. I hope I can continue to be of service to you. Of course, so what's brought you back? Did Professor Mikotoba not protest? Let's save all the conversation for when we're back at home, shall we? You know, I've made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful. I can't wait. Yay! Sato-san was back in London. It's hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time, but despite my elation, Howtail was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. Natürlich! Aber Moriarty müsste wirklich noch vorkommen, ne? Kam bisher nicht vor. To be continued. Save, please. Yes. Matcha-Schale da! Ich will auch Matcha. Gibbe. Derzeit Oktober. Naruto's Legal Consultancy. Oh, this room. It's been too long. It hasn't changed in the slightest, though. And it's been some 6 months, hasn't it? That's a long time for things to stay so familiar. I didn't know when you might return, and I wanted everything to be as you'd left it. But it has been 6 months, it's true. So is your father alright, Susie? What happened? My father? Yes, Professor Makotoba. I mean, it was half a year ago, but that's why you went back to Japan. Because of the telegram you received saying he'd fallen ill with a very high fever for some unknown reasons. That's right. So I was surprised to learn you'd be coming back so soon. Surprised but happy. Ah ja, genau, Dinge. I think I wrote about it in my letter to you, that it was all a trick. My father is in fine health, and I'm obviously very relieved about that. Well, we're all delighted to have you back. It was quite by accident that I've been able to return to Europe, actually. It's because of a very grand conference called the International Forensic Science Symposium. The International Forensic... It's the same symposium Lord Strongheart mentioned. Anyway, I've arrived safe and sound, and all that matters. And all that matters is that I'm here now. After all, I haven't yet fulfilled my promise to you, Iris. Oh! You must tell us everything what happened while you were back in Japan. Yes, of course, I shall. And there's one other thing. Something you wrote in your letter that particularly grabbed my attention. About, you know who. About Kazuma. I know. I'll tell you all that I can. Okay. Back in Britain. When I first arrived back in Japan, I really thought I'd never be allowed to return to Britain. But curiously, after that awful trial at the Supreme Court, Father's mood changed entirely. The awful trial? Oh yes, for the murder of Giselle Brett. Oh, you dressed as a man then, didn't you, Susie? Oh, well, yes. Since women are forbidden in the courtroom, I had no choice. Wow, amazing! I wish I'd seen it. Don't you, Runo? Yes, I suppose so. I want to play at being a lawyer now. I could wear a false mustache, maybe. I don't think any mustache could hide the fact that you're just 10 years old, Iris. Was? Nicht? Schade. There's something else I've been wanting to ask you, Mr. Sato. It's about the real reason why Professor Mikotoba summoned you back to Japan. You said your letter, it was something to do with that convict's loot we found in Mr. Natsume's lodgings. That's right. The very large dog collar we found in the with the bee emblem on it. It seems Mr. Natsume included a drawing of the collar in the report he submitted about his time in Britain. I understand that when Father saw the report, he turned as white as a sheet. Why would that be then? Father came to Britain himself, of course, to study. Also, soweit ich das weiß, wir haben das da im allerersten Trial, was wir hatten, war ja Ryunosuke angeklagt, Iris' Vater getötet zu haben. War, glaube ich, das. Und Susatos Vater kennt Iris' Vater. Dass irgendwas dass die beiden irgendwas damit zu tun haben. Dass sie dabei waren. Das heißt, dass die beiden vielleicht dabei waren, als, ich schätze mal, eventuell der Unfall mit Van Siegs Bruder war. Könnte sein. Also meine Vermutung. Father came to Britain himself, of course, to study. It was some time ago now, but he stayed for 6 years. I can only imagine that something must have happened during that time. But if he refuses to tell me what it was, then I intend to find the answers for myself. And I've decided that I, for one, won't keep any more secrets. Oh, Susie! It's a very meaningful look Susato-san's giving Iris there. Forensic scientific Lord Strong had mentioned something about that symposiums too. I think he said that investigative authorities from 40 different countries would attend. Yes, and from Japan, my father and Judge Chigoku have been invited. It's something of an honor, I believe. Well, Professor Mikotoba is the leading expert in forensic medicine in our country after all. But who's the other person you mentioned? A judge, did you say? Yes, His Excellency, Judge Seishiro Chigoku. I've met him, Mr. Naruhodo, last year in the Supreme Court. You can't possibly have forgotten. That terrible trial of yours, when you were accused of murder. Yes, I try to think of that as a positive turning point in my life these days. Ah ja, das war der normale Judge, der Japanese Judge, okay. Well, it was Judge Chigoku presided over the trial. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd be happy never to see that man's face again in my life. Oh, well anyway, as father was invited to the symposium, he agreed to me returning to Britain too. He won't actually arrive until next month, but, well, I couldn't wait. So I pleaded with him, in the end he agreed to me going on ahead. It's about the symposium. It seems as though Lord Strongheart has put in an awful lot of work to make it happen. It's obviously very important. I believe it is, yes. As I understand it, Lord Strongheart organized the entire event himself. I think he's hoping that by achieving his exceptional results, he'll get the job of Attorney General. The most senior position in the British justice system. He's hoping to use his power to create the world's finest policing institute. That's what father said anyway. Apparently it's Lord Strongheart's lifelong ambition, aber es war bestimmt Lord Strongheart. Ist sass. Does Professor Mikotoba know Lord Strongheart personally then, I wonder? Actually, Lord Strongheart gave me a long speech all about this very subject only yesterday. But I sort of lost the will to live early on and didn't really listen to that much. How trying of you. Oh. Giselle Brett. The woman whose unforgivable actions ended in me being wrongly accused of a crime I didn't commit. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, Giselle Brett. That's a name I won't forget for as long as I live. The extraordinary thing is, though, it seems it's a name we should all forget. Sorry? Since the incident, our government's intelligence services have been investigating Miss Brett. But it turns out that an Englishwoman by the name of Giselle Brett didn't actually exist. Oh? Didn't exist? But how can that be? It was a pseudonym. Her real name was Shin, and she was a visiting student. She wasn't a visiting student either. That was a front. A front? Who was she then? Miss R. Shin. Her name is literally all our intelligence services have been able to ascertain about her. Nobody knows why, or even how she came to be in Japan. It's a complete mystery. But that makes no sense. It's now easy to ask to be accepted as a foreign student anywhere. What would the woman have been up to? I'm afraid I really don't know. The only thing we can be sure of is that she had some businesses in our country that we don't understand. And now she's been killed, while all the questions surrounding her existence remain unanswered. I'm afraid so. Shin. Who on earth was she? And why do I feel as though I've heard that name before somewhere? After my friend Ray's trial, the reporter who actually killed Miss Britt said something very strange. I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. In that visiting student's fate. Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it to England, that he died on a steamship, and that he'll never. Obviously, I couldn't ask him to elaborate at the time. But later I visited the man in his prison cell and asked him what he was going to say about Kazuma-sama. And what did you learn? After he died on the voyage to Great Britain, his body should have been unladen at the port of Hong Kong and passed into the care of the consulate staff there. Should have been? Well, it turns out that his body never arrived. It just disappeared. Buzz. What? Kazuma's body vanished? Our government tried to cover the fact up, it seems. They erected a grave on the cliffs by our hometown. Except Kazuma-sama isn't there. Did Professor Mikotoba know about this? Yes, it would seem that he did. But he didn't tell me. They're still investigating what happened to Kazuma-sama's body as we speak. I just don't believe it. And what is this acute feeling of apprehension I have all of a sudden? Thinking back now, some of the things that happened on the SS Buria were definitely strange. I mean, after he died, we never saw his body again, did we? Could it be that he's actually still alive? Stop it, Mr. Naruhodo. It's too much to bear. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Just thinking about the possibility pains me so very much. Cast your mind back for a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. When Kazuma-sama was discovered, Mr. Shams was there, wasn't he? And he definitely examined the body. I remember it clearly. Ah, you're right. So if Kazuma hadn't actually been dead at all, it would mean that Mr. Shams had lied to us. But there's no reason why he would possibly have done such a thing. I suppose that's true, yes. The idea that he might still be alive somewhere. It wants to fill me with hope, but I can't let it. Because if it turned out not to be true, then I'd be back at the bottom of that awful pit of despair again. I'm terrified of what that might do to me. Oh, Mr. Sato. I know she's giving the idea the thought it deserves. It's a Sato-san we're speaking about after all. So I probably shouldn't push it now. Oh. Ich muss mir ganz kurz was trinken holen. Hopp! Bin gleich wieder da. Hallo. Ist wieder kalt. Ich wurde abgelenkt. Sorry. Das hat jetzt gedauert. Upsi. Aber ich habe heiße Schoki. Yay! Wir gucken, wie lange wir noch machen. Eventuell. Ja, meine Schwester hat mich noch abgelenkt. Ich habe sie auf dem Weg getroffen. Runter. Vielleicht nachher mit ihr noch ein bisschen FF14 spiele. Sie ist, glaube ich, beim... Ist sie beim ersten Dungeon? Beim ersten Dungeon von Endwalker? Sie hat mal wieder ein Abo. Sie unterstützen dabei, ha? Dass sie das Spiel spielt. Also, die Frage ist... was muss ich jetzt tun? Ich habe jetzt mit ihr geredet. Ich kann mich nicht bewegen. Kann ich hier irgendwann... Muss ich ihr die Sachen zeigen, oder? Guide, Hilfe! Ich weiß gerade nicht... Muss ich irgendwas zeigen? Oh, ich muss untersuchen. Ah! So, sorry. War verwirrt.
It must be about a year ago now. I wrote a really long story based on some of my father's old notes. It's about one of Hurley's greatest exploits. It's called The Hound of the Baskervilles.
But then, Mr. Shums forbade you from publishing it and put a manuscript somewhere nobody could get their hands on it.
So nobody knows anything about it apart from Hurley and I. But for some reason, you knew the title of it, didn't you, Susie?
It's exciting, The Hound of Baskervilles. I'd love to read it.
And you wouldn't tell me how you'd come to know it.
Yes, but I made you a promise that I would explain one day, didn't I? I think it's time.
Oh?
I'm only sorry I've had to keep it from you for so long, Iris. Ah, The Hound of Baskervilles. It was completely by accident that I came to know the title of your manuscript, Iris. It was a short while before we left Japan. I was cleaning Father's study, and I saw something on his writing desk. A large box of papers. There was a label affixed to the top that was written in English. It read, The Hound of the Baskervilles. What?
My Baskerville story?
Of course, I had no idea what it was at the time. But father came in and... Zod, what are you doing? Nya. Oh, Father. Did you look at those papers? No, I simply read the label, that's all. Well, I put it out of your mind. Sorry? Forget about forget about that you ever saw it, and certainly don't tell anybody else about this. Do you understand? Wow! Krass. Hello? But what was Iris' manuscript doing in Japan? I have no idea. But when I heard Iris mention the word Baskerville that day, the title just slipped out. I would never have guessed that it was an unpublished account of one of the Mr. Shums' exploits. When I returned to Japan, I asked Father to explain, but he refused to answer any of my questions, and there was no sign of a big box in his office. Iris stunned. That's really all I know about it. I've no doubt that Father has a very good reason for being so secretive about it, but still. I made up my mind to explain myself to both of you.
Well, thank you for being so honest, Susie.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm ready to start investigating if you are. I've committed every detail about the case to my memory. And Iris has told me about the disturbing happenings at the Waxburg Museum as well. So, you're fully abreast of the situation already, Mr. Sato. And expected nothing less, to be honest. I would think our first port of call should be to investigate this Mr. Trapper. The engineering responsible for building the elaborate machine that was used to effect this extraordinary trick. As a conjurer of sorts, by the sound of it, well known in the fields of science and magic. Then we need to go and arrest him. Well, yes. He must know the truth behind this case, so I agree we really do need to find the man.
It sounds like it's a case of tracking someone down. Which is a job for the police, or a great detective.
Are we supposed to guess who she might be thinking of? We don't have much time, so we need to get started right away, I think.
Good idea. Well, best of luck then.
Oh, you're not coming today?
I'm going to Brixton Road shortly for the herb market. But let me know later how you got on, won't you?
Okay, choose Iris, I guess. That was a little abrupt. The pull of the herb market must be strong. Na then. New location has been added. Ja, geben wir einmal eins weiter, I guess. Hier kann man ein gutes Wimmelspiel spielen, ne? Ah, hier ist aber gerade nix. Who this? Who this? Oh, who's that standing beside Lord Strongheart? I wonder. I've never seen her before. Hello, who this? Warum schwarz-weiß? Ah, the young champion of the court. You had some success this morning, I understand. And you thrown the entire government into disarray as a result. Oh. You mean because of Professor Harebrain's experiment? Sham science being demonstrated at London's great exhibition. The country's been made to look foolish, and now politicians are scrambling to respond. Lord Van Zieks is in Whitehall as we speak, giving an emergency briefing. Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause any trouble. None of this is your responsibility. The government is entirely to blame for having been taken in. The special dispensation that prevents investigation at the scene will be annulled later today. Once that happens, my forensic investigation team will move in and deal with that scrap metal in no time. It's scrap metal now, is it? Guten Tag. Until later then, Lord Strongheart. Mega geile Brosche an der Krawatte. Ist cool. Yes, thank you. Who was that? That was Dr. Courtney Scythe. Scythe? Das ist mein Nachname. Scotland Yard's esteemed Chief Coroner. Also? She is leading the forensic investigations team handling of this case. She was just delivering her report about the victim, in fact. Oh, I see. About Mr. Asman. Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to re-evaluate its findings. I don't have time to tell you what she'd concluded. If you want to know, you'll have to ask her directly. If you can't find her in the forensics laboratory... Ah, right. Now, what do we have here to see me about? I can give you 7 minutes 39 seconds of my time. So, he's not running quite so spectacular late anymore. What exactly is the forensic investigation team that you mentioned before? The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative that we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. I first created the forensic investigation team a year ago now, unofficially of course, to pave the way.
Goodness, a year ago?
At next month's symposium, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensics division. And once that happens, the position of Attorney General will be mine, and the criminals will suffer dearly. Oh, okay. What do you mean? For so long, those scoundrels have made a mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. But London's scum is about to be rounded up and burned in the fires of hell. I intend to see it personally. By creating the finest police force the world has ever known to protect our honor and our future. Hey, look at those eyes. He means every word. Dr. Scythe is an extremely reliable coroner. When I officially establish the forensic division at Scotland Yard, she will run it as my right-hand woman. Okay. Now then, speaking of the symposium, Miss Mikotoba.
Oh, yes, my lord.
Your father should be in the high seas as we speak, making his way here to represent the Empire of Japan.
Yes, that's right. I understand he will arrive at the beginning of next month.
Are you acquainted, Lord Strongheart? With Professor Mikotoba, I mean. It was many years ago now, but yes, I remember Dr. Mikotoba very well. Aha. Hashtag not evil at all. Nee. Der ist doch der Good Guy, hä? If my memory serves, it was some 50 years ago now that your father came to Britain as a visiting student.
It was the year I was born, so yes, 16 years ago in fact.
Mikotoba was a young practitioner of forensic science, and Chigoku accompanied him as a young promising judge. The punctiliousness and politeness of the Japanese at the time impressed us greatly. Not that I wish to imply impoliteness or carelessness on your part in any way. I didn't think that you were. Dr. Mikotoba studied forensics at one of London's large hospitals. Dr. Sinners, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Scythe was also there then, as it happens. Die sind alle drin verwickelt.
Then Dr. Scythe knows my father, does she?
She was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. But I've no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mikotoba was here studying his subject for some 6 years in total.
6 years? That's a long time to be studying abroad, isn't it? I lived with my grandmother in those years.
So he left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 whole years?
It was a rather turbulent time at home.
Oh.
Perhaps father wanted a reason to get away.
What do you mean? Why? Well, clearly something was going on at the time. Lord Van Zieks. I wanted to ask you about Lord Van Zieks actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago. By a mass murderer known as the Professor, who targeted the nobles in reality, is that right? You Japanese are a throughout lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the Reaper. What? Why? When his brother, Clint Van Zieks, was murdered. It was just after young Baroque had graduated from the University of London and become a prosecutor. With an obvious criminals who managed to evade conviction in court started disappearing. Rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say that whenever Baroque von Zieg's event, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind. Oh my word. So, Lord von Zieg's isn't the Reaper? It's the ghost of his brother? Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles. Oh, yes, not Strongheart. Go ahead. It's about Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains, if possible. Are you well versed in science, then? Not in the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject at all until recently. Well, the special dispensation legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. Seive's team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. But I suppose until then, there's no harm in you looking at the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing. Thank you. Being able to look at it is better than nothing. And I'll be able to see it too. Yay! Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls. We are extremely sorry to have troubled you when you are so busy, my lord. I have important matters to attend to in preparation for the symposium. You understand? Na denn. Ah. Gucke, ob ich vielleicht noch eine halbe Stunde machen kann, aber langsam geht's mir wieder auf den Hals. Das ganze Lesen. 23. Oktober, Gratification, Dings da. Oh mein Gott, ein Hundi! Susato, du geh weg, ich will den Hundi sehen. I had no idea there was so many people in the world. I know what you mean. It's really packed here today. It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowd to this point. Has it? I shut my brain down, so I didn't really notice, to be honest. Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes, Mr. Naruhodo. Taya, I had a feeling your lot would show you Max before long. Ah, das ist er. Sorry. Nein, warum jetzt er noch? Nicht seine Stimme. No. Oh, Inspector Gregson. I see you hard at work as usual. Warm greetings. Warm greetings to you. I do hope you've been keeping well since we last met. Grexy! What's with all the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning. Not you, Sunshine. The gentlewoman is all loyally at your side. Oh. Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice. He might be a bit rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart, I suppose. As you've probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more. Right. Well, that's the young trainee's domain. Oi! Get over here, Gina! But a doggy. She seems to be busy playing with a puppy. Probably giving it a traditional East End training. Gina? She's a police officer now? Amazing, isn't it? She's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place, anyway. She's got a detection bug, if you ask me. Yep. I think she'll follow in my footsteps nicely. Aww! What do you mean? I'm being transferred. No! It's time for me to say toodle-doo to London. Was? Nein! Oh no, really? That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. But are you going to be posted then? We'll come and see how you're getting along. Not likely. But you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is. To France? I'll be working in the Paris police prefecture. Should be right up my alley. Was? But France? It's an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there? That's the way the adult world works, sunshine. Now, don't go poking your noses in where it's not wanted. I'm intending to take the kid with me when I go. What? You taking Gina to Paris? And I can't leave her here in London. Who knows what will become of her? I suppose he's worried she'll slip back into slipping her hands into people's pockets and purses. I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. Naruto. I think he's worried about the Reaper. Oh, of course. So that's playing on Inspector Greggson's mind too, is it? Anyway, I haven't mentioned any of this to Gina, so don't go blabbing, you hear me? No, of course not. I've gotta keep that diving diva safe and sound until all this is over, at least. Oi! Did you just call me a blooming diving diva again? So you hear that, did ya? Right, well, any questions about the scene, you can put them to my capable detective diva here. Nice. Alright, you're at the boss. Inspector Lestrade's in charge here now. I suppose I'd better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you've got a new dog, have you? Oh my god! This is so adorable. Ah! Es ist so süß! This is adorable, I love it. Isn't he great? Toby's his name. Toby! No! Oh, adorable. Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable. Yes, the dog does seem lovely. But is the not so lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest? Bad dog! Gina, bad dog! Gina? We were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again. Yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you want, what you like. Oh, that's alright, is it? That is so cute. I'm gonna be playing with my new friend here. Oh yes, Toby. Ay, shush! Woof! Woof! The machine that exploded must be at the top of those stairs, I presume. I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind. Bundi! Sorry, I can't go up there, Suze. Oh. It's like I told Odo yesterday. Even I ain't allowed near that wreck. What's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it, the special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one. That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it. What are they called again? The forensic something? The forensic investigation team? Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one, yeah! But isn't it the case that the special dispensation has been lifted? I think so. I don't really get it, to be truthful with ya. You're still supposed to get permission from some bigwig or other, as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something? Strange! If you say so. I'm not sure that's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Strongheart, perhaps. That's the one, yeah! Apparently he's always watching the time or something. Actually, we've just recently been to see Lord Strongheart. Eh? You what? You've met him? Last time the boss was called to go and see him. He waited for 3 hours at the Cove's office and came back sniveling. Tragic. Sehr schön. Well, Lord Strongheart has given us permission to examine the scene, as long as we touch nothing. Oh yeah? Honestly... Alright then, go ahead. But if it turns out you're lying, it'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life. No. So, you're still saying all this is above board, are ya? I'm sure everything will be fine. It really would be tragic. Alright then. Them's the stairs, off you go. Oh, thank you, Gina. It was great, wasn't it? I had a right laugh. It was a new one to me about that. You know, being in court and not spending the whole time worrying I'm about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you? Yeah, and Oda's made things odd for me every single time and all. Just doing my job, Gina. But watching someone else get hit in the neck is a lot of fun, actually. It was amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment was a total fix. Nice. The dodgy professor, as you put it, Gina, is Mr. Naruhodo's client. Yes, I'm starting to wish he wasn't, though. Rude. It's the boss I feel sorry for. Sent off to do the impossible. What do you mean? He's supposed to arrest that other cove, ain't he? And in time for tomorrow's trial and all. You know, the dodgy engineer. What's its name again? Mr. Drebber, you mean? Enoch Drebber? That's the one, yeah! So the police are looking for this mysterious man with the black monocle. I guess they would be. It's putting too much on the boss, if you ask me. He says it's giving him gut edge. Oh dear, but I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food. So, Scotland Yard are trying to track down Mr. Enoch Drebber. I wonder if they've had any luck. He's real funny looking, got 2 eyes what don't match, was? Stole a glimpse of a picture of him earlier. I mean, I did actually pinch it off nothing. The old devil's got it. Sorry, who? No, that's Gown Reaper. What's always clocking down glasses or that blood red block? Ah, Lord von Zeeks. He's always at it in for me, the cough. Don't what he's always scolding about, mind. Probably would have been a pretty good boss, as it goes. She'd rather be the Reaper's apprentice than the detective's trainee? The way I see it. If the choice is between a chip guzzling detective and a chalice clogging demigod, you're equally badly off with both. Nah! I suppose you're right. I ain't through of it like that. I'd have put that one to bed. Anyway, the point is everyone's at the yard set on finding the fishy engineer. But there don't seem to be no clues to go on. So they're stuck. There's nothing that can lead us to Drebber at all. Toby the dog. Where did you find that little mutt then, Gina? Oi! Bist so flamming rude, oder? Slight overreaction, don't you think? Yeah, no matter, right? Toby's... how did you put it? Oh yeah, a bona fide detective. Bona fide detective. No. So sorry? I've given him a proper title and everything. It's Chief Inspector Toby to you. Oh, more senior than Inspector Rexon, I see. Oh, so he's a police dog, is he? The police recuse dogs now? I've heard that they already been used officially in Germany as part of their city policing. I need to talk. They're used for chasing criminals and such likes. They have a wonderful sense of smell, after all. I have a fairly good sense of smell myself, as it happens. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered from undergarments that haven't. Wow! Das ist aber ein Skill, den du da hast. Ryu, what the fuck? Ha, that's nothing compared to this little fellow, though. Oh, really? According to what the boss said. Marcus is so cute. Once Toby's ass got a good whiff of your drawers, he could chase that scent to the other side of the world. What? To the other side of the world? You mean he can swim? Good. Mr. Naruhodo, I think you may have missed the point by rather a wide margin. I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill. I'm telling you, though, there's gonna be more and more dogs doing that bit for the police in the future. Yes, I agree. Right. One of these days they'll be barking orders at us lot, not the other way around. Oh dear. Sorry, Gina, I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. Well, anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby's ear is Britain's first police dog. Oh. I found him down the East End the other day. Someone's ad just chucked him out to the street. There you go. I knew she'd lifted him from somewhere. Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? To children and to animals. Ah. Hier, warte. Falscher Knopf. Ja. Wir gehen hoch. So, es räuchelt immer noch. Es räuchelt immer noch. Oh my. So this is the machine. I was used to deceive people into thinking the spontaneous kinesis had taken place. Yes, that's right. Or rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear than at the moment. What extraordinary lengths Professor Harebrine went to in order to obtain the research grant. No, the professor was strict as well. He didn't know anything about it. Yes, of course. It is amazing though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British. Right about that. You'd never see such a grand deception in Japan, that's for sure. Oh look, is that... Oh, hallo. Lord von Siegs? Hi, na. Guter Mann. So, I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Mr. Tato? Already? He is the Reaper, remember? We do well to keep our distance, I think. But we have permission to be here, from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine, as long as you don't touch anything. From the top? Do you mean Lord Strongheart? Exactly. So we can stay here and stare at this wreckage as long as you like. She could have been at the center of the explosion here, and it wouldn't have bent her steel will. Nice. Ich weiß nicht, ob das alles als Einzel zählt. Gucken wir mal. What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel steel girders have buckled and twisted in the blast. Keine Ahnung, wie man das ausspricht. Da unten ist doch 100% eine Falltür. And what they call a birdcage was right in the middle of it all, just here. But look, Mr. Naruhodo, that metal grill on the floor. It looks as though it's designed to open. It does, doesn't it? If the floor had opened at the precise moment the explosion occurred, the birdcage could have dropped through and then disappeared from sight. I don't think there's any doubt that this was a very elaborate hoax, is there? Ist das alles das eines? This cage. This wasn't here yesterday. Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before he was apparently beamed through the air. That's right. The birdcage, according to what Professor Hairbrain said in court, it's made of wood. Wood. Or more precisely, Japanese suppress, I think. And despite having been in an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Naruto? I'd understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they'd finished their work. But sadly, not with the body inside it. No, that's right. I know we were given strict instruction not to touch anything, but still. This is too important of a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. Birdcage from the machine has been entered to the record. Nice. Look at that horn-shaped transmitting device. Isn't it that amazing? That's exactly what I thought when I first saw it. It makes you think, doesn't it? If only it had just been a normal horn, none of this would have happened. That's almost exactly what I thought as well. I bet I can predict what you're going to say next in that case. You're about to say, nothing ever goes to plan, aren't you? Oh no, I would never say something like that. Oh. Ah. Ich glaube aber, ich speichere jetzt mal. Ich speichere und dann siegst mal mit Siegs reden, I guess. So. Immer bei Doppelsaving, so. So. Nichts Interessantes online. So. Oh. Ich glaube, honestly, 3 Stunden reichen mir für Ace Attorney. So viel lesen. Dann machen wir das nächste Mal weiter. Mal gucken, wann das nächste Mal ist. Ich muss noch gucken, wann ich Zeit habe und so, ne? Na denn. Ich wünsche euch sonst einen schönen Rest vom Sonntag. Und bis zum nächsten Mal und so, ne? Bye bye. Tschüssi.